Okay, it's a cool morning. That is the knife that I finished going to I'm a Survivor and Thriver. There's my truck, and as soon as the post office is open, I'm gonna go mail it. I should have mailed it yesterday. I just couldn't make myself walk down and get the truck. I am weak as a kitten, and I can't seem to get my strength back. But every day I'm a little bit better than the day before, so I am not complaining. So that's all I got. I got gas cans in the truck. I'm fixing to fill up the remainder of my gas cans, which got me to thinking a little bit. I'm not being judgmental, or maybe I am a little bit. I don't know. But there's a terrible, terrible hurricane coming in, and it's probably going to hit the Tampa area. And there was a week of notice, and it seems like every hurricane or every bad storm, at the very last minute, that's when people worry about getting water and gas. I never understand why you would choose to stand in a 300 people long line to get a gallon of gas instead of a week ahead of time going to get gas and water. And of course, there's already fights over water in the Walmarts and stuff. It's been on the news. I just don't get it. I don't get it. How would it hurt to have an extra case or two of water in your house and keep a 5-gallon gas can filled up? Now, maybe if you're in an apartment, you don't have a place to put 5 gallons of gas. But then, in an apartment, what would you need 5 gallons of gas for? Anyway, I'm just thinking out loud. But every disaster, you see just lines and lines of people that should have, prepared for it a week earlier, and at the last minute they want water and gas. And then food, everything's empty, all the stores are empty. Anyway, this is my chore today. Mail that, fill up my gas cans, and then if I feel I still can do a little something, I'm gonna sit in my shop and cut sandpaper. Yeah, exciting, right? But I've told myself every day I'm gonna just do a little something, and as I feel better, I'll do more and more. Like I gotta clean my shop up, and just the thought of cleaning the entire shop, there's no way. So I may do a bench at a time. Anyway, I'm getting better. This whole hospital thing has been a complete debacle. They told me I don't have colon cancer, but they didn't tell me about the other 2 biopsies they took in my stomach. Boy, they are still buzzing around. And then the headache, they have absolutely no input on my headache, which I still have. It's not as bad as it was, but I guess I'm just getting better on my own without any further input from them. I'm still on them heavy antibiotics, but I do feel better, that's for sure. But I still feel weak as a kitten. Okay, enough about me. Have a good Wednesday. Well, I just got a call from the doctor. My other pathology report concerning my stomach came back no cancer as well. So, in her opinion, what I had was a highly infected, it's called colitis and diverticulosis. And I'm going to have to make some serious changes in my diet. No seeds. I'm going to have to limit my animal protein. Not so much eggs, but meat, because it takes so long to digest and pass through and all that. So I've already I probably haven't had a hunk of meat in 10 days. They actually gave me solid food my last day in there, and it came with some chicken-like substance. And I took 2 bites out of it, and that was it. I just couldn't put any more in me. So I'm not like going vegan. As a matter of fact, I had a couple of eggs this morning. But I am going to have to make some drastic changes. And basically that's anything with seeds in it. And most types of animal protein besides eggs. And maybe later down the road, white meat, chicken white meat. So anyway, I think I'm gonna have to start eating more fibrous foods. And I am gonna, but this gives me an opportunity to come up with, there's a pasta salad that a friend made the other day. And I've never liked pasta salad before because I've only had it at like buffets and stuff like that. So it was pretty bland. But her pasta salad was very good. And it's got me interested in pasta salad recipes with veggies in it and stuff like that. So I may start making that. Plus, I have found that I like Jell-O. Yeah, Jell-O, a gooey, jiggly substance that really doesn't have any, you know, caloric value. But they were just trying to keep my stomach from complaining by giving me Jell-O, and I like Jell-O. So I may start making some Jell-O with fruit in it or stuff like that, you know. But no vegetables in it, of course, but, you know, maybe oranges or a banana or something like that. Okay, good news all the way around. No cancer anywhere. And now I just got to work on getting strong again. This is how full circle your life can come. About 1.5 miles from me is a company called Progress Rail. And what they do is, and it's owned by Caterpillar, believe it or not, Caterpillar. Well, anyway, what they do is refurbish train wheels, train trucks, and the truck is the saddle that the wheels ride in, you know, they're on springs. And anyway, they're called trucks. So they rebuild trucks, put new springs in them and stuff like that. And the train wheels, they resurface them. Basically, they just turn them on a lathe. And where the bearings go, they turn them to make sure they're true and round and smooth. And back in the 80s, early 80s, middle 80s, I hauled flatbed right here in Wascom, Texas. And the guy's name was Paul Robertson, Robertson Transport. And really, he didn't pay a whole lot, but he was such a nice guy, such a laid-back guy. It was just an enjoyable place to work. He had good equipment, good flatbeds, and when you picked a load up, he would say, "When do you think you can be there?" He wouldn't say, "I need you there by so-and-so." So if you were feeling a little slow or you needed a little extra sleep, you could add on a day to your delivery date. But I was a young guy, and I didn't need that much sleep back then. Some of the older guys did. So, and when you got where you were going, he always had you a load lined up that same day to get you out of there. It was a great place to work. But, you know, you weren't going to get rich working there, that was for sure. Anyway, we hauled lots and lots of train components into and out of Progress Rail. And that was here, and here I am all these years later, living in the town that I used to work in and haul out of. And what got me thinking about is when they run these wheels off the flatbeds, sometimes they set them down pretty hard with their forklifts, and you could hear and you can also feel it. That's how heavy it is. All this distance away, you can hear it and you can feel it when they hit the ground. And it just happened before I turned the camera on. I was hoping you could maybe hear it. Did you hear that? Go back about 5 seconds and turn it up. Yeah, anyway, that's what that was. That's some train wheels hitting the ground. Here's another full circle. The one and only time I ever got actually put in jail. was a result of something that started in this town long before I lived here. And of course, they dropped the charges and let me go. And I'll tell you that story. I rented a mobile home in this town, and it was so far to get back to, and that was my first wife. She hated it here, and I don't blame her. This is a crappy little town. But anyway, I rented a mobile home, and it wasn't furnished or anything like that, but the guy that was moving out said, there's a love seat and a little cafe table with 2 chairs. It's yours if you want it. I don't have any room to take it. So that furniture was still in there. In the meantime, I knew somebody that cleaned carpets, and I had him come over here at, next to nothing, and clean those carpets. It was 2 bedrooms and a hallway with carpet in it. Oh yeah, in the living room. And he did a really great job. It was beige carpet, and he made it look like nobody had lived there before. So I couldn't move in for a few days because the carpet was still wet. So in the meantime, the landlord had come in and seen that furniture there. And unbeknownst to me, he claimed it as his. Well, anyway, I signed a 6-month lease. And in the fine print, the only way you could get out of this lease was if you were moving for your job. And about 2 months into it, my wife, it was just obvious she was never going to be happy there. And then the part of Wascom we were living in was not a good area. She was really scared to be there by herself. And so anyway, I had the people I was working for on their letterhead write something saying that I was being transferred. And he knew it was a lie, but what can you do? I followed all the rules, and I found the loophole, and to get myself out of this. So I was moving out, and I was moving back to Bossier City, and I took that furniture with me because, it was mine as far as I was concerned. And about 2 months later, I got a knock on the door, and it was the Bossier City Police, and they arrested me. I was in my bathroom getting ready for work, and my wife said, there's a couple of guys with suits out here. So I was in my underwear, and I kind of cracked the door open, and I said, yes, can I help you? And they held up badges, and I said, let me get some pants on, but I didn't close the door tight, and they stepped into my house with me walking around in my underwear, and they said, hold on, and I turned around. They said, well, we can't let you go anywhere. I said, you can't let me get dressed? Anyway, they step in the house, and they hold these pictures up of this furniture that I have, that love seat, and the cafe table with 2 chairs. Now, at that time, my wife was now pregnant with our first child. That's how long ago this was. And next thing you know, I'm in jail. And that landlord claimed that furniture was his, even though I did not rent a furnished apartment. And like an idiot, I did not get any paperwork or find that guy's name, and he wasn't going to give it to me because what he was doing was getting even for me finding the loophole. And his name was John Long, and he lived somewhere around Wascom, Texas, and he was basically a slumlord. And he was getting even with me for finding the loophole in that lease and getting out of the lease. That was them train wheels again. Anyway, yep, I spent, they arrested me it was 1983. They arrested me on a Friday morning in August. And they put me in jail, and I sat there. And of course they put me with the insane guy whose clothes they took away from him. And for 2 solid days, I lay there with one eye open because this guy kept wanting my clothes. And Monday morning, they let me out. They were kind of embarrassed. They dropped the charges, and never heard another word. So all these years later, I've had that arrest, and they called it a felony arrest. This is probably $20 worth of junk furniture, and the guy claimed it was well over $1,000 worth of top of the line furniture. and they confiscated it. They took it out of my apartment and everything. I mean, it was a big deal. And when they seen what all they had, and then I told them the whole story about I'd found a loophole in the lease, and I got out of it, and he was mad and told me that wasn't the end of it as far as he was concerned, and it wasn't either. So he got me good. The rest of my life, I have that arrest on my record, and it has haunted me for getting concealed carry permits. I've had to jump through hoops to prove that I wasn't in jail, that there was no... See, Bossier City has no record of my arrest. The courthouse has no record of my arrest. The police department has no record of my arrest, but for some reason, it's on my national record. And I'm sure there's some way I can get it off, but it would cost me a lawyer and a bunch of money. And, you know, I've had top secret clearances when I was hauling certain things for the military, me and my wife, and that's been on my record. And, you know, all I've had to do is go to the Bossier City, the Benton, Louisiana courthouse, Bossier Parish courthouse, and get them to sign a thing saying that they have no record of my arrest. And I have to send that along with my reapplication for my concealed carry permit every 5 years. It's just a real nuisance, but it hasn't really prevented me from anything. It's just a, you know, a black mark on my record. All right, I'll shut up now.